this. This is not natural. So we have all this edema. So there's fluid in there. Yeah, so there's a blood supply to it. There we go. There you go. There you go. It's scary. I'm not going to sit here and showboat. The problem is there's her body and her ability to double back. So she has obviously a big, giant amount of venom. She's got actually pretty extraordinary venom glands. The venom is incredibly toxic. Worried for a whole bunch of reasons.
Why?
Obviously my snake, and I don't exactly know what's going on with her.
So tell me what happened.
We just noticed that Lilith's been hiding in her hide box for, Timmy was acknowledging, like over a week. And so we actually got her out of the hide box. She didn't eat actually her last meal, and we noticed that she has possibly looks like an infected fang. She's got swelling, she has some fluid in her eye because they have a little duct in the inside of their mouth. And when there's any kind of inflammation inside the mouth, it will press against this little duct and it will cause the fluid flow that goes between the eye and the system gets constrained, and then all of a sudden everything gets trapped in the eye. Her eye's bulging, fang. So basically what I'm going to do is, and I hate doing this, obviously this was not something anticipated. Everything's been fine with her. She's been growing, she's doing great, but things do happen. So I think she's got an infected fang, which means I'm actually going to have to restrain her. Which, not that we have a lot of trust with her anyway, but she really is intolerant of us. So we actually have to hold her behind her head and do all that. And that's very scary. It's for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, it's her psychological thing. Obviously, as far as danger. But I'm definitely stressed out of it.
Yeah.
I don't like doing this because it's just a lot of reasons. It's nothing that I like. I just am worried about what I'm gonna find out because I don't want to put her on antibiotics. Mm-hmm. I don't want any of that stuff. It's because when you do antibiotics, best case scenario, it's once every 3 days of injections, generally with immunoglide or cephalosporin. We try to leave her alone, let her do her thing. She's been doing so well. She's upset.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, she doesn't even know it's coming, but she's gonna be upset.
The idea here is we've got our barrel that she's going to go into, but obviously we don't want her to shoot back up. She's a big king cobra, so it's certainly a possibility. So we've got some crumpled up paper in the bottom there, so hopefully she'll feel a little bit more secure when she kind of gets her head in there and just tries to bury herself right in there and just essentially run away. So hopefully it works, but you know, I'd rather have an attempt at a safer move than not. So we'll see.
So I think the stakes are higher now, maybe because she's a little older.
Well, it's not even so much that. It's just she's bigger, you know. So I mean, we've all seen videos. You know, she's not a tame animal whatsoever. So we're definitely really on not on edge, but we want to make sure that everything is like going exactly how it needs to go. But you know, of course, working with live animals in general, you never know how anything's going to go. But the more precautions we can be, the more prepared we can be, the better off we're going to be.
Oh yeah. All right. So she's just going blue. There we go. That looks like an infected fang, for sure. Watch out. Timmy. Ready? Okay. Ready? Oh. We're good. I might go for pinning her right here. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, where's the towel? Hold on. Okay. We're gonna move her into another room.
I'm gonna bring this after you guys so you guys go.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
let you go first.
Wow, she's pooping. This is the first time I've ever grabbed her behind the head. You got that, Tim? So we're gonna clean out the mulch out of her face. First thing. Okay. A little further.
Careful, her head's gonna get slippery.
We're gonna let her bite a towel. Okay, the reason, just in case something bad goes on, the least amount of venom in her, the better. So, not doing it into anything where you're milking or anything like that, but we're gonna give her a chance to kind of get her yayas out. They have this hinge so they can control with their muscles. They bring the fangs forward for deeper penetration. But the venom on this is ridiculous. This is neurotoxin. So this is just gonna basically just shut down your respiration, all your body functions. So you don't wanna get bit. Whereas like a lot of pit vipers, there's venom, different species, very, very complicated. So I'm not trying to do this and explain anything. But this would be a horrific bite. So the trick is, don't get bit. So venomous handlers are all about proper technique, don't get bit. There is, it's pretty much when you play with guns, don't shoot yourself in the head. Same deal here. So, okay, so we're not trying to milk her or anything like this. This is a necessary activity that, it's taken us days to even decide we're gonna do this. And I don't want to put her and have her, let's look at the venom coming out. This is pretty much towel soft. Let her basically get some of her venom displaced from inside where I don't want to, in case I make a mistake, and mistakes happen. You're gonna see a lot of venom though when I get her away. One thing that's actually bothering me right now is I want to get her with my left hand. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna move over here. And this still keeps her busy. So I have some forceps right here.
Do you mind if I get in close?
Oh yeah, I want you to get in close. So let's learn about this. So she is in a process of blue. Timmy was pointing that out. So her eye is going opaque. So one thing we want to know, whenever snake is ill, has an injury or something like that, what they do, the healing process, is they speed up the periodic, the time of sheds. So an animal with some kind of, let's say if it was bitten by something or some kind of damage, she would naturally start shedding more often than her underneath normal state. So it's under some kind of physical duress where the body has to repair itself.
She just shed 14 days ago too.
Okay, that's, Timmy would know. Okay, so her fang is seated down. So we got this. This is not natural. So we have all this edema. So there's fluid in there. She actually looked worse a couple days ago, and which is actually a little bit better. So I'm just trying to be really aware. Get ready, because she's gonna. So there is her fang right in there. And what I'm looking for any necroses. So necroses would be any kind of damaged tissue that is basically now dead, and then that basically becomes a bacterial medium. So we want to basically something called debride that. So you'd actually want to remove that, and you want the least amount of dead, decaying, damaged tissue, so you basically can give her the best chance of repairing. So she has an immune response. A nice healthy animal, as long as you keep in proper parameters as far as husbandry and her weight and her food intake and all that, and she's not ill. Her immune response can actually deal with a lot. So these are dealing with gram-negative bacteria. Largely, it's gram-negative bacteria that's going to affect cold-blooded animals. We're warm-blooded, so gram-positive is typically something that's going to more like afflict us. So if I were to be bit by a corn snake, a boa, a python, generally that bacteria that is all the ambient flora of that animal's mouth, really if it bites me, that bacteria is not going to bother me, because my warm-blooded body basically is not a happy haven for gram-negative bacteria, but there are always exceptions. If I can help it, I'm not going to want to put her on any antibiotics. I was actually expecting to see really a worse state. So that's so committed. I'm actually happier right now. It looks way better. It did not. The other day was scary because there was a fair bit of fluid and the eye had swelled out. So what that does is basically it magnifies the pupil. The duct under the eye is indeed limited as far as its ability to drain the eye. And so any kind of edema, any kind of trauma inside the animal's mouth is going to basically shut that duct off by limiting the flow. And then you basically isolate the eye. If I were to put on a systemic antibiotic, so that means I'm giving her an injection, the first third of her body, furthest away from the kidneys, so it basically becomes bloodborne. So it's systemic means it goes through the body and you get it into her bloodstream. Then you would want to rely on the body activity where it then takes antibiotics and brings it into the tissue. And generally, it's being bloodborne. So if you have an area that's isolated from the normal flow or the normal contact of these said antibiotics, you basically can run into a problem. So if you isolate the eye, that's a problem, and it can long-term have horrific results. So I have syringes of chlorhexidine. So this is provoiodine. So this is really interesting. I'm not seeing any evidence. Let's see. So all she could have, this could just be basically snakes shed their fangs. And so she could have a fang that's inflamed and her response was to go into the shed. I am seeing 0 necroses of that. And she is really committed to this. Lilith, I love you dearly, even though you want me dead. All right, I am feeling far better about that. So one thing that's really interesting about Indonesian snakes, a lot of like Asian snakes, they'll often ingest rodents that will have their own parasites, and these are warm-blooded parasite hosts. And when the snake ingests that, sometimes the parasite leaves the GI tract, the gastrointestinal tract, and then it starts migrating around the animal's body. Well, the snake, in some cases, does not complete this warm-blooded life cycle of, let's say, that cestode, like a tapeworm or a fluke. And what that does is the organism will start traveling all around the body. And sometimes you'll notice with something like green tree pythons, you'll see if it's like an imported green tree python, farm green tree python, you'll notice these little lumps on the animal. And if I were to get in there and incise that area without even really causing any blood, I can open it up and look. And a lot of times it's one of these gnarly little tapeworms which are associated with a warm-blooded host. But in the reptile, they can't complete their life cycle, so they'll just travel and they'll just lay dormant. And sometimes they might lay dormant for years and then eventually just disappear. We have not put Lilith through a big worming process. Remember, whenever you worm a reptile, you're worming the animal enough to kill the parasites that reside in that animal, but not enough, in theory, to kill the animal. In some animals that are heavily parasitized, the dying flora of parasitic infection can basically cause all sorts of inflammation, can basically pollute their bloodstream. So you really want to be careful. So some of the stuff you want to basically make sure you manage. The level of health of the animal is always priority before you ever get into going through worm management. When you have an animal like this that may have worms, by keeping the cage clean and introducing food items that don't have parasites and basically interrupting the life cycle, you can reduce the parasite load over time. And you can also use things like fenbendazole, Panacure, you can use albendazole. You can use Droncit, kills tapeworms. Okay, so what we're gonna do, what I'm gonna attempt to do, so make sure. Wow, she's so committed. Lilith. So she's just, I know, you just, I see the skin wants to tear. Interesting. Okay. Show me. Show me. Let's watch her tail. Okay, that's alcohol. So Donnie, I don't know how you wanna.
I just want to make sure I'm not in your way.
Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do.
Promise we won't let that thing go. Because I got my body right over it.
Okay, so
Right in front of my thumb, right between those two scales.
Donnie's what's?
Real close.
Yeah, her skin is fairly. Hi, sweetie. Wow. Yeah, this is.
You're good, Donnie. You see what you gotta do.
I think you got it open.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so that's amazing. Yeah, so there's a blood supply to it. There we go. There you go. There you go. Oh, we're gonna take a look. Hold on. Right here. Sorry.
That's fine.
This is so hard without.
Both hands.
Yeah. So what was happening was, it was like in a little pocket. Yeah. There's no like infection or anything, so I'm just using chlorhexidine diluted. My sweetie. And very little pain, I would think, associated with any of this. So back to this. So basically, the easiest thing we can do is return Lilith back to her cage, without, we can.
I'd give her towel and all. Let her just keep chewing on it.
Yeah, she's.
I'm pretty sure they're dumb.
Rather than trying to pull her off
You
of
double
it.
check.
Yeah.
All right, Donnie. So we're actually going to put her back. She's continuing to deploy her venom into this towel, and once again, I'm doing this because this is one of the kindest, easiest things to deal with her, where she's not mindlessly trying to bite into the air. Sometimes they'll actually even try to bite so badly they'll actually hurt themselves. They'll envenomate, their mouth, and as they're trying to chew, as I'm holding her behind her head. So I'm actually basically trying to pacify her, which is literally, probably the kindest thing I can do. Okay, so
I
we're
won't
gonna,
let go until I tell you that I'm ready.
okay.
So you one.
You ready, Donnie?
Two,
I'm good. I'm good. So I'll be last. You can pull out to me. Ready?
Oh,
There you go.
she let that go.
Nice, sweet.
Interesting.
Oh,
Do you want to get that or not?
hold on. I just want to look. What's in her mouth?
You want me to grab her
What
body?
did I just see? What's in your mouth?
She got some mulch in there.
Yeah, she got some mulch, forceps. All right,
Let
we're
me
not.
grab him. Hold
I
on.
got her body.
That's all of them.
Ew. That's all venom, huh?
Yeah, well, there's
And iodine,
89
but-
yeah. All right, so let's see what we got in here. So I have to watch my thumb, what I'm doing right here. I don't want my thumb too much under there. And believe it or not, I'm not actually holding her really hard. I will adjust my pressure as need be. Come on, Lilith. Now, in theory, even that will have venom on it. Look at that. Look at that. That's like I said. There you go.
I think it still would have hurt if it bit.
Oh, it still would have hurt.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, come on, sweetie.
There we go.
All right, what do you got for another set of forceps?
Do you want smaller or bigger?
Bigger. I want. All right, Rob. See that? So, see that piece of mulch in her mouth?
I got you. Okay, there's another small piece right here. Hold on, I gotta come from a different angle. Come on. Why is it not? Let me go. There we go. Perfect. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's a big piece.
There we go.
Perfect. There we
All
go.
right, Donnie, how we doing?
You're good, you're good, you're good.
Okay,
All right,
sweetie.
Kevin.
Okay.
I'm letting go with
Good to
this
go.
hand.
All right, thank
And I'm
you.
letting go with the other.
Oh,
Oh,
caught. Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good. Remember, nobody touched cuts.
Yep.
Here we go. Ready? I'm gonna get myself ready. Here we go, Donnie. Release. Here we go.
okay.
Whew. Here you go.
I haven't been that stressful with the camera in a while.
So essentially, I think what it was, she actually had a parasite. So it was a cestoid, and it basically traveled outside to the dermal layer and just isolated itself. And her body was encapsulating it. This is all anecdotal. So it actually looked like it was already dissolving. I've done this before, where same kind of thing. You get the lumps, you open it up, and it's an active worm, and sometimes it's gonna be, kind of fairly long. So
You see this? She's focused on you. It's like she knows you did that to her.
How about look at her face?
She's only looked at you this whole time.
I know. We'll leave her alone. She's in a nice quiet room, and she's going to go back to going in her nest box and lays quiet. I think a little bit of her realized nothing horrific just happened to her. Is biting the towel, but I don't think there was much pain except for some panic associated with that. And right now, the most important thing is just let her go quiet, let her go to sleep. She's right now in the middle of a shed, and we're going to revisit this after she sheds.
I gotta turn my camera on, dude.
You didn't turn your camera.